All right. Hey, welcome, folks. Mil Spec Ops Mickey here. This is going to be your SITREP. It's a little about, I guess, a little after high noon here, Central Time, coming to you from a great state of Texas. It's February 13th, 2023. And so just so you know, normally I record my show with the members live around 11 a.m. And today I had a bit of a snafu, and I basically started out my show. I had my tinfoil hat on as a joke, and I sat it down and hit my Rodecaster Pro 2, and basically, it was an aluminum tinfoil hat, and it basically just knocked all my stuff offline. So actually, don't do that. If you have a tinfoil hat, keep it away from your electronics because it will jack some stuff up. So anyway, it's about an hour and a half later than usual, and we're going to get into the events of the day. The other thing, too, I wanted to tell you, I had a lot of people coming at me on Friday and on Saturday telling me I should go live about the events that were going on. We're going to cover them in detail today, but I'm just so you know, when it comes to fighter aircraft being scrambled, you very rarely do you see fighter aircraft. I've got the entire database of F-35s loaded into my watch list, and I will tell you the only time I ever see those guys, one is if they want to be seen, and two is if they are, they squawk an emergency or something. It's the only time I ever see them. You do see the occasion F-15, F-16, things like that out there. Now, you do see T-38s. Those are trainers. They are meant to be seen, but everything else you're not really going to see. So when you're scrambling up for some type of a sky event, we're just not going to see those. The only thing you might see are going to be the air refuelers that are up, and even in that case, I was looking and I didn't see any. So when it comes to national security, those guys will go dark just like the fighters when it gets real. Okay, so it's just a data point for you, but I wanted to let you know that's why I did not go live. All right. So we are going to break into it now. So let's get over here to our board. Let's see. Right now it's about 12:40 p.m. Central Time. We're sitting on screen about 4:55. We got a pretty big number up there. However, I will tell you it is a beautiful day here in the great state of Texas. We've got 103 trainers up, and then on top of that, when I say trainers, that's Tex 2s, and then on top of that, you've got 38 T-38s. So between the two of them, we're sitting at about 145 up, roughly, back of the napkin number. So I will knock them off my board here so you can kind of thin out the herd. And of course, you can see we do have some Intel balloons up. And so let's get into our watch list and take a look at that. We'll talk a little bit more about these Intel balloons. I'm showing 5 of them up right now. You can see them across the top. I did update my watch list yesterday because I went to Raven Aerostar and pulled in about 43 other balloons that are up. We've got an E6 off the West Coast, a couple intelligent birds down south, and then looks like a Dash 8 Homeland Security bird headed to the northwest. But anyway, I added a whole bunch to our quiver, but they're still not able to be seen. So they're up. We just don't see them. Okay. All right, then we got a little two-ship here. Looks like they're following each other. A little SAM blue and white Gulfstream, and then a little Navy bird right behind it. And then, of course, that's going to be your nuke sniffer. We're going to look at that here at the end of our broadcast. And then some Homeland Security down off of Florida. And then let's get over here to Europe and take a gander at what's going on that side of the drink. And let's see. We've got our regular German Intel balloons that are up. Again, spying on everybody in Europe. And then we've got a single R-135 that is running routes to the left side of Moldova. Looks like they're coming out of Crete. Okay, so let's get over here to the heavies. We'll take a look. It is a little light start for a Monday. Looks like we've got a lot of things off the eastern seaboard, up and down the coast, really. One C-130 there near Winnipeg, up in Canada. That's going back and forth. Most of these are going to be, for the most part, C-17, C-130s. We do have one A400 in the mix there. And we're waiting for Europe to come online. We're going to take a closer look at that. Looks to be pretty well spread out top to bottom here. So let's see. My screen is thinking. So once it stops thinking, we'll start to moving. And Yeah, let me back down just a little bit as we get a closer look. We're going to go down towards Turkey and take a closer look at what is going on there. It looks like we've still got a lot of humanitarian efforts going in and out of the area. We're going to look at those numbers here in a minute. It is quite sad, actually. And it looks like Israel's got a C-130 up. Now, we're going to look at them as well. They got a little hot over the weekend down in Gaza. So we'll take a look at that news report. And then you can see things all the way up into Estonia, Lithuania area, and then the usual suspects out of England, and then down there to the west of Malta. I don't know what that little island is, but it's north of Africa. And then we've got one little C-17. That's an India C-17 that is coming out of New Delhi, it looks like. So, all right, let's get down here to the refuelers. And you're going to see we got some little wave launching out of the center of the United States. That's a regular occurrence for us. They're just getting airborne. Got some activity going on out over the Gulf of Mexico, west of Tampa, and then something there between southern Florida and Cuba. So kick around sideways. You can see that. That's Pirate 13. And doing some air refueling, that would indicate we got fighters probably down in that region as well. And then some stuff off the East Coast. Notice the one up there near the Canadian border north of Buffalo. And then that one coming between Tennessee and North Carolina as well. So those are two that we're going to look at. And then let's get over to Europe and take a look. Not too much up in the sky in terms of Europe. We've got one that looks to be in the middle Europe area. More like kind of, I think, if I had to look, I'm trying to get a good west of Stuttgart, south of Luxembourg. So it looks like we're doing some air refueling there as well. So that would be an indicator of fighters in the region. All right, now over here to the R-135s. You can see we are still looking very closely at the stuff there. That is Russia over underneath my mouse right there. That's an R-135 off the shore, out over the water, looking at items or objects or assets in Russia, okay? And then it looks like we've got some stuff going there in to the right side of France down towards Luxembourg. Again, those could probably be, it could be doing touch and goes in that area. I've got it elevated so it would offset it, make it look like it's higher than it really is. And then that looks like we've got some stuff coming out of, actually over the Persian Gulf, and then our regular stuff over near Moldova. This over those silos, missile silos, just doing a little flying there. And then, of course, again, R-135s, kind of the usual routes there. And then we've got some stuff there east of Dallas, which is not really usual. And then we get over here to Japan. See, I don't see anything up over Japan, so we'll just move on from that. Let's get over here to the drone side of the house. This is going to be a Q4 super high-tech running back and forth over the Chesapeake Bay area. That mouth is critical in terms of security. If it gets up too close, you can actually do something in the waters there and probably impact things around D.C. All right, and then those are going to be Q9s doing, looks like Customs and Border Patrol north of Los Angeles, and then right there north of the border there in Arizona. And all right, over to Europe. And it looks like we've got something that got airborne out of Poland and then disappeared. And then we've got, so that's that little one down there. And then we've got this one. That's a Q4 drone. Looks to be headed just running along the Ukraine border area. And then we back it down just a little bit, head south. And you can see again for about the fourth day in a row, looks like we're getting, we're risking the biscuit here. Out over the Black Sea, getting eyes on everything we can down there. So looks like we are just taking the chance. All right. Okay. Intel aircraft. Now these really tell the story. Take a look at this one down in Hungary. Notice you're looking at running back and forth in the middle of Hungary. That could be looking at anything up in Serbia to the north, or sorry, Slovakia to the north. Right there. That's Slovakia. And then you get down here, Serbia to the south, and then Croatia. All of those countries are kind of pro-Russia. And so probably why we're looking, because we are surrounded there in Hungary by them. And then our usual suspects beating a path down over from Bucharest up near Moldova. And they're looking at stuff all the way over in Crimea, which is Russia, out here in the Black Sea. Yeah, and over Constanta. Yeah, that's Russia right there. All right. And then it looks like they ran just running all the way up from Ukraine to Belarus. They didn't stop there. Check that out. Look at the path these things are beaten down. That's over the last 4 days. So very, very active from our intelligence community standpoint. And then we get up. Notice that this stuff is running to the north of Kaliningrad. That's Russia, again, a Russia-controlled port out there in the Baltic Sea. Lithuania, Latvia, and then up to Estonia, which is, to the right. That's Russia, and Belarus. So, which may as well be Russia. All right. So pretty crazy little data points for you as always. Just goes to show you where our worry beads are and why we're looking at that stuff. Then here in the U.S., it looks like we got kind of the usual suspects. Stuff running out of south of Tucson. It's going to be the intelligence community running into California. And then out of Biggs there in that little corner of Texas. And then we've got this Dash 8, which is a Canadian one running north of our border near Winnipeg. Again, doing a little recon up there. And then southeast stuff. And then we get down here. We notice we've got some activity going on down in Honduras again for about 4 or 5 days straight. So we are really looking at stuff down there very closely. All right. All right, let's get back over to our board and start getting into what's going on in the world. Now, I covered this one in our or in my Monkey Minute over the weekend on Sunday, and this is interesting. You're not really hearing much about it, but it looks like East Palestine, Ohio, had a train derailment that had a major toxic chemical fire. We'll just kind of scroll through it to show you some of the debris going up in the sky from this cloud. This is a little township pretty close by. Not a good place to be. And then, of course, that gets into your water. It gets into all kinds of different things. I did see some other video where this stuff had been from them fighting the fires. The water had run off into one of the local creeks, and it was killing all the fish. So pretty big environmental impact there. And, of course, look at the sky right here. That is very ominous. And then this from an airplane somebody took down below that same sky. You can see that is jet black, man. Black as sackcloth. All right, let's get on over here. Let's talk flashbang for a second. Well, actually, let me do this. I do want to punch into the earthquake situation going on. If you'll notice here on the board, he's not really talking about anything going on in Turkey. So I'm sure we've got to be sending some humanitarian effort over there, but everything seems to be going to Ukraine. But wait till you see the numbers that are up. Last time we got together, we were at around 22,000. Check this out. This is actually staggering. Turkey is up to 29,605 in terms of the amount of people that were killed in this earthquake. And then Syria is at least 4,500. And those numbers seem to just continue to climb. So keep them in our thoughts and prayers. And this is unprecedented, and it's very sad. So, all right, let's go over, speaking of flashbang, as we get back into this. This looks like frontier gibberish right here. I just want to see if any of you guys can figure out what exactly it is he is saying, all right?
Make no mistake, if you try anything to raise the cost of precision jobs, I will veto it. Make no mistake, if you try anything to raise the cost of precision jobs, I will veto it.
Well, it's kind of hard to argue with that because you really don't know what he said. So anyway, little humor for you for today. Just more word salad coming out of Flashbang. He's good for that. No doubt about it. His ramblings are unmatched. I don't think I've ever seen a president in my life that just couldn't form a standard normal sentence. So anyway, yeah, it sounds like frontier gibberish. It's authentic, no doubt about it. So, all right. So it doesn't look like he's doing much today, thank God. But let's get over here and take a look at his world, everything he has done for us here. So it looks like millions of Americans, that is 30 million Americans, are going to be facing a hunger cliff here starting March 1. They're saying 32 states are set to slash all of the emergency food stamp benefits. So take a look at this number, and this is kind of, it really speaks volumes. It went from $60.3 billion in 2019 to $119.5 billion in 2022. And it looks like through the last omnibus bill, they slashed it. And so that's going to be taking a lot of food out of people's mouths. You know, not a good situation, especially given the economy that's on the horizon. So, okay, now let's move on. Let's get over to what was going on over the weekend and why we were all wearing our tinfoil hats. Crazy things happening at seemed like it was just every time you turned around, just trying to keep it all straight. Some of the reports were a little alarming. Now, I'm not a UFO guy. I will tell you that up front, full disclosure. But the stuff that I was gathering was certainly interesting, just to say the least. Okay, so check this out. This one was one of the first ones. It says F-22 shoots down an object flying high over the Alaskan waters. And then we went into this. Now we'll get into the details here in just a second. Another F-22 shoots down another object, this time over Canada. That was over the Yukon. We're going to look at that. And then this here, an F-16 actually downs an octagonal object over Lake Huron. I will show you the box changed over the weekend to where they are looking now. We're going to take the current NOTAMs here in a couple minutes, and we're going to mash them up and show you where all of the activity is going on, okay? So that these are all data points, just give you something to gnaw on here for a minute, and let's kind of get into it. So Friday, what we had, this was, I thought, interesting. This was the area on the north side of Alaska, super cold water, where you had some C-130s that were out actually looking at this. Now, I'm going to hit pause here for just a second. It says here, we're continuing to learn more about this program, which enables us to identify and track objects, and that the U.S. basically will invest and ensure that we're continuing to protect our skies and airspace. Now, what they're talking about is basically the capabilities that are coming online. They have the ability to track this stuff through NORAD as it gets into the skies. And so evidently, we just turned something on and we're starting to see all these things. It's kind of crazy how that works, isn't it? Now, this is the other data point for you. 1:45 p.m. on Friday, Eastern Standard Time, it says a two-ship of F-22s coming out of Elmendorf Air Force Base flew up to meet the object, traveling at about 40,000 feet, and one of them fired an AIM-9X missile that destroyed the object, okay? And then this area, if you'll notice, let me, I'm cutting off the top of my head here, but up above, you'll see that little red box to the northern side up here in the corner, way up in the top, north of Alaska. That little box right there is the area that this thing went down into the water that they're trying to find. They, some very interesting reports that have come out of that. Like I said, just weird, strange stuff. All right. That's the first one. That was on Friday. And then we hit this one again later Friday evening, I believe it was. And again, let me back up just to kind of go through this. This just in says Canada closes airspace over, let me hit pause, over the Yukon, parts of the Yukon. And we'll look at that closer on the map here in a second as well. It's basically an active air defense operation. Again, these were the F-22s that engaged this object. And then Trudeau comes out basically saying that he ordered him to take it down. This unidentified flying object that violated Canadian aerospace, and using the NORAD command that was over the Yukon area using U.S. F-22s. And then here it says here from NORAD, it says military aircraft are currently operating in Alaska and Canada in support of NORAD activities. And they confirm that they have positively identified a high altitude airborne object over northern Canada. Now, the interesting thing is the choice of words that they are using here. I always find it, they did not say balloon, okay? And again, you can see at the very top of our screen there that round red NOTAM where the operations were, where they shot something down that very quickly went to a smaller box, as they had an area that they felt like they were looking for it closely. Again, it was a mill operation going on in that general area. So, all right, so let's get down here to this piece of it. And this is actually a high altitude. Again, let me hit pause on this. Let me back that thing up, Miss Daisy. All right. Now this is actually over Lake Huron, Michigan. It says that they, another high altitude unidentified object that was an octagon shape, okay? But it had strings attached. Sounds a lot like a balloon to me. I have seen some videos, but I can't confirm or deny those videos because I just don't know the authenticity of them, okay? So again, you can see the box. Notice the box initially is over Lake Michigan. It later shifted over to the UP out over Lake Huron. And this is the F-16 that they scrambled to take this thing down. Again, they're out looking for this thing. Now, these are just the ones that hit. And then check this out. I thought this was interesting. One, the F-22s that engaged this object out over Alaska said that it had actually messed with their communications. So that's a pretty high-tech deal for them to actually start scrambling F-22 systems, all right? So some type of electronic jam device going on there. And then check this out. This, I thought, was a very interesting data point. Not ruling out aliens. I mean, this guy just went straight for the throat punch here. U.S. Air Force General Glenn Van Herk, who is responsible for the protection of the United States airspace, told reporters that the military had not been able to identify what the three most recent objects were, how they stayed aloft, or where they were coming from. We're calling them objects, not balloons, for a reason. It's because they were not balloons. And some of the F-22 comments right out of the gate said that they didn't know how these things were even staying afloat. So that is again, data point for you. Again, I'm not a UFO guy, but I will say things that make you go, very strange. All right. Now, here's the other one, too. This came in. This was late Friday night, or I say late in the day Friday. It was nighttime. This is Billings, Montana. Just notice, actually say Billings, Montana. This is Montana. Notice the box that is north of Helena, Montana, or Helena, however you guys say it up there. Right there to the Canadian border. Notice that there is a box there, but there was also some other activity that was taking place in that general area. Now, my opinion, especially after my tinfoil hat hit my electronics, this was some video that came out from one of the weather radar images of north of Billings. And I want to show you this, and this is what made it very curious. We heard a lot of chatter about fighters scrambling out of Spokane, Washington, and all kinds of different things that were going on, as well as things happening over Montana. Check this out. Now, this, in my opinion, you're going to notice the streak that goes out. It's red right there. See it flare up on the screen, and then it just kind of fades out. That, to me, is a signature that I've seen in the past when it comes to a fighter or a B-52 dropping chaff, okay? It lights up a weather radar or any kind of radar in the area like a Christmas tree, and then it starts to go down to the ground. Now, if that stuff crosses power lines or hits anything, it will jack it up. It'll take out power. It'll do all kinds of different stuff. But it's sometimes they do an accidental release, or whatever was going on over Montana felt the need that they needed to drop chaff and maybe even some flares to I don't know. Like I said, I couldn't track any of that stuff. If they were fighters, I couldn't see them, and I certainly didn't see any B-52s up. But that chaff drop is typically what gives off a signature like that, okay? All right, let's move on from that. Let's get over here to the other piece of this. China says they're ready to down an object flying near their naval base, and that is a paper. You can see this is just a picture of it, but they've got them too. Now, they're saying, this is kind of funny, China is now saying that the U.S. Has sent more than 10 U.S. balloons over its airspace in recent years. Yeah, a lot of finger pointing going on right now. Everybody looking up. So the shenanigans are definitely in play right now. And this is a time when we got to all be really careful because everybody starts shooting everything out of the sky. And it's, you just a thin margin of error right there, right? So again, grab your tinfoil hats because this seems to just get more and more interesting by the day. We'll see if we get through a Monday without anything. But we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday activities going on. All right. So, okay. Now, speaking of the Chinese, check this out. Satellite beams, green lasers over Hawaii. That's a trip. Don't know what this is from, but they're saying this is a Chinese satellite that astronomers were looking at, these green beams that came out over Hawaii. Again, strange stuff in the skies, right? And last up, man, check this out. It's over on Watchers. It says that asteroid 2023 CX1 impacts the Earth over Europe, the 7th predicted Earth impact on record. Now, the interesting thing is it was discovered just hours before impact. So I don't know what kind of prediction that would be. If it's coming straight at you, not much of a prediction. And if it's only hours away, straight on, it's going to hit. So looks like that was just a big bright object in the sky. But yeah, it's just a matter of time. Something's going to come in. No doubt about it. I'm just looking for the one they named Wormwood. And then you got my attention. All right. All right. Over to the cyber attacks. It's about 1 o'clock. We're sitting at about 20 million attacks on this day so far. Really light compared to what we've seen. We had them up to 65 million. We get to 20 million. That's, nothing really. But notice the stuff inbound to Israel from Ukraine. Wow, making friends there, aren't we? So, yeah, it looks like, notice the stuff coming out of Southern California, peppering Israel as well. Belgium's in on it. Looks like NATO is taking shots at Israel right now. And, wow. Yeah, imagine all that. All right, let's get over here to this side of it. This is going to be Bitdefenders, our Star Wars map. As you can see, as I button this thing up, as always, U.S. is just getting the lion's share of the stuff coming inbound from Europe, China, and the like. Okay. Over here to our NOTAMs. Now, this kind of segues back to all the events that took place over the weekend. We're going to take a closer look around our map just to show you. This right here, this is the box, the search box, ongoing operation up here on the northern side of Alaska. Very cold water. I think this line is the international line right there. So anything that goes out here is going to be international waters. All right. So as we get down, you can see, let's see. This is the other one. Now this box popped up. I don't know if that is tied to, it is to the right side of Billings. I don't know if there's any significance to that or not, but this one and this one, that is Canada Thunder Bay. Don't know what's happening there, but that looks to be a mill op that's going on until 4:45 this afternoon. And then this one, this is the area where the thing was shot down. They say Lake Huron, but it is definitely on the U.S. side of the house. Another mill operation, probably up there in the UP looking for whatever that object was that got popped, okay? The octagon-shaped object. And then, of course, let's see. Now, this is White Horse here. Up here is the Yukon. I don't see anything showing an ongoing operation, although that is where it was on our map. Okay, so that's where it got shot down, the other one. And then, of course, we still have our box here doing the recovery off of the South Carolina coast. So that's 4 things that we've blasted out of the sky here in the last, 8 days or so. Anyway, just the world just gets more and more interesting by the day, doesn't it? So, all right, let's move on. Let's get over here to this side of it as we get away from the NOTAMs. It says here, U.S. tells citizens to leave Russia immediately. That came out today. It was about 8:30 this morning. That's over here on the Hill. So looks like people are being told to evacuate Russia for a good reason. All right. Now, the next piece here, Israel strikes Hamas and a complex in Gaza. So we were looking at that C-130 a little while ago. You can see here, this is basically like a munitions bunker. It looks like they were building stuff in there, and Israel took it out. I'm not going to hit the recording on it, but just it's just a data point for you. But things to continue to get it's a little F-35 inverted there. They just get more and more interesting over there in the Middle East every single day. And then this one, this is always just what you want to see. Iran shows off a ballistic missile bearing the Hebrew words "death to Israel." There you have it. All right. Amazing. Absolutely amazing what we let them get away with. I definitely don't want to turn your back on these guys for sure. You know what their intentions are. They broadcast them. They tell you exactly what they plan on doing. And we let them continue on down the path of developing nukes. You know, they probably already have them. Well, maybe not, because I would think that the minute they did get them, they would probably use them. So, all right, this is going to be Biggs Army Airfield. We got a Sun Country coming inbound from Kansas City, Missouri. And that is the only thing on the board, that side of it. Now, en route, still coming inbound, we've got an Allegiant Air from San Jose, California, and a SPA coming in from San Jose. My guess, these are probably not troops. These are immigrants, okay? And then this goes back to Tucson from there. Again, they have a pretty big operation here at Biggs Army Airfield. Giant tent city, holds about 15,000 immigrants that I believe they are still actively using, okay? All right, over here to, what do we have? Ramstein. See if we got anything. Air Transport International coming in from Portsmouth. Camber flight from Columbus, Ohio. That's troops, more than likely, or things that go boom. And then a couple Reach birds rolling inbound. And then this one, 767-300 Atlas Air coming in, and then outbound. That is a different one. That's actually Camber flight, destination unknown, and another Reach. And then we got this spar. That's going to be a blue and white dignitary coming in. All right. Atlas Air. Key on this, or just note the green dots. Okay. So you've got this one. It looks like it's headed into Spain. This one into Poland. And if I back up, we had more dots here a little while ago. This one, it looks like stopping off in Anchorage, and then a lot of stuff going down here into Japan. And then that's China right there, right? So, and then this looks to be rolling out of Guam, headed to Okinawa. So that's definitely military stuff there, as well as this over here, these two, okay? All right, Kaleta Air, just give you a general feel. Looks like that one's headed in and out of Bahrain. And then this one is, what are we looking at? Brussels, all right? More than likely, both of those are military related. Over to this side, this is going to be, what are we looking at? Camber. So these are going to be troop movers coming out of Bahrain. And then this one here is Ramstein, okay? Looks like these two are moving back and forth. Don't see anything else in the air at the moment. And then we get over to Omni Air, which is a big, again, serving many masters. Looks like you've got one that's coming into Seattle, Tacoma. One, let's see. So these are your destinations, if you just kind of give you a general idea. Big thing, looks like today they are flying stuff in and out of Savannah into Riverside. That is more than likely, that's probably immigrant related. Any of the stuff that's down south along the border is usually immigrant related. And then these coming in and out of Greensboro, Anchorage, Alaska to, let me get down here on the board and see where that's coming. Anchorage to Cherry Point. All right. So that's going to be troops. And then Shannon to Pope, that'll be troops. Gulfport, Anchorage, troops. Hunter and Savannah to March. Yeah, that could be troops. Could be. Kadena, Seattle. So it actually, the more I look at it here, the more it starts to look like it is all troop related and not immigrant related. But they definitely serve two masters. Okay. All right. Navy Logistics. Looks like we just got one come out of Terceira Island, and then this one coming out of Hawaii. And all right. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it's Hawaii. All right. This is going to be your Brits coming out. Looks like Norfolk And we get down here on the board and see where that's coming out. Portsmouth. All right. And looks like you got some stuff coming out of Crete or headed inbound to Crete, climbing out of the UK. Yeah, it's headed to Crete. And these look to be headed back to the UK. Over here to Guam, as we get into it, you got an Atlas Air that was inbound, one reach, and then looks like that one, Atlas Air's headed to Tokyo, Japan, Yokota Air Base. And what do we have here? All right, Immigrant Machine. Now, just notice this one's headed down in South America. These look to be border-related, coming out of Alexandria. That's a 72-hour holding facility. And then all of these others look to be interior moves. All right. So that one looks to be coming into Dallas-Fort Worth from Bedford, Massachusetts. Now, that could be hockey. You do have the Dallas Stars. Could be hockey related. These guys do move from time to time, some hockey teams, but most of what we see is not. All right. Now, this is going to be your sniffer, and I'm not talking about flashbang. But what I did want to point out was the fact that he flew in from the Senior Living Center Brown Zone here up to this section all the way down through here. That is really getting a good look at the area that flashbang resides in many aspects, right? So up here, it looks like they were into Mammoth Executive. They're in Farmingdale, New Jersey, as they headed down along the coastline. Again, you get up here. This is where Flashbang has residence, and probably down here too. I mean, the guy's got a lot of property. But yeah, these up and downs are doing air quality samples, different elevations and heights, smelling for anything from nukes, chemical to biological stuff. Okay. All right, listen, that's going to be it for today. Again, we'll be back on Wednesday. Any shenanigans take place, we'll definitely capture it and talk about it. So that's it. You guys keep that powder dry and stay frosty. We'll talk soon. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworksus.com.